So the mug is becoming indicative that this video is not going to be about writing, but instead is going to be about something dumb. So one of my favorite things to do is seek and consume the worst media available to me. I don't know why. I think it started with Whaley reading bad poke porn to us as a friend group, which is exactly what it sounds like. We would find poorly written erotic fanfiction about Pokemon, and he'd read it to us like a cute little bedtime story. It was pretty sweet. But a great venue for low quality creative work is the Netflix movie list. This week I watched a movie called Backcountry, and I didn't read the description, but I'm gonna read it to you now. A weekend hike for urbanites Alex and Jen, with 2 N's, takes a dangerous turn when they become lost in the remote territory of a menacing bear. So I had no concept that a bear was involved in this story at all, and the movie starts out by establishing Jenin as this vapid, self-absorbed, terrible girlfriend by having her look at her phone a couple of times. They arrive at a little welcome hut for a national park, and the ranger is like, don't go on the Blackfoot Trail because it's closed. It goes and said that they are going to go on the Blackfoot Trail anyway. This seems like a premise, but it really doesn't have anything to do with the plot. They're not like, hey, don't go on this trail because there's a man-eating bear. He's just like, hey, don't do it. Because reasons. So my first assumption, because he's so adamant that they go to this one place, is that it's a special place between the two of them and that he's going to propose to Jenin, but then it becomes clear that she's never been there. So why else would someone want to go to a specific place and do specific things? Like it's a pattern? Like he's a serial killer? The ranger offers Alex a map, and Alex is like, do I look like I need a map? He kind of looks like he needs a map. So Alex and his next victim rent a canoe, and they enter an Academy Sports and Outdoors advertisement. They cross the lake and park the canoe, and Alex immediately drops it on his toe. And then he's like, it's fine, bro, let's go. So they never acknowledge that he probably broke his foot, and they just start hiking. Then they have some fun, sexy times, and they go skinny dipping and stuff, and there's like a close-up of Alex's sorority girl shoulder tattoo, and it's so in focus that it seems like it's going to be a plot element. Like maybe every girl he murders, he like gets a tattoo for them or something, but it's never mentioned. And then Alex is off getting firewood, and he comes back and finds Jenin being like talked up by this Irish guy. I don't remember his name, but apparently he guides tours through the woods, but he's not on a tour now, so it's really unclear what he's doing there. And then he starts insinuating that he's better at taking women into the woods, and that Alex is on the safe trail, and Alex is boring and his wiener is real small. And then Sinead whips out this rope full of fish and is like, I caught these fish with my bare hands. Can you catch fish with your bare hands, Alex? I didn't think so. And then he just like guts them without breaking eye contact and invites himself to dinner. And he's cooking up these fish, and then Jenin is like, I'm gonna make some side dishes. You guys want vegetables or potatoes? And then Alex is like, I want vegetables because he's on a keto diet. But Connor is like, potatoes. And it almost seems like they would have made him Irish just for that throwaway gag about him arguing about potatoes, but the timing and delivery just makes it seem like the writers had no idea what they'd just done. So I still don't know why he's Irish. So then Jen is like trying to referee the pissing contest by being like, we'll make both. But then Sean is like, no. Potatoes, Jenin. And she just listens and just makes potatoes. If I were Alex and I had a woman that unruly, I'd cut her loose. Then Sean gets up and literally pees on their firewood. He just whips it right out and pees on their stuff after demanding that they cook him potatoes. I guess it's an Irish thing. And then they have dinner with him like that didn't just happen. When Connor's leaving, he makes some weird serial killer veiled threat things like, I'ma steal your woman because you ain't a real man. And then he finds Jenin's thong on a log and picks it up like, ooh. And she tries to take it back, and he like hooks it with his finger and like eye bangs Alex over her head, and then he leaves. Okay. Maybe Nolan is the serial killer. Or maybe Nolan will come back right whenever Alex is about to kill Jenin, and like they kill Alex together. The next day they're hiking again, and Jen finds a dead deer and makes a huge freaking deal about it, and then she falls in some poop. And she's just all out struggling to keep up with him, which doesn't make any sense because this actress is ripped. She is stacked as hell, and they trying to sell that she can't keep up with this little skinny boy. She could bench press him. Her biceps are bigger than her neck. So they're crawling up the hill to this beautiful place that Alex still hasn't shut up about, and then it's not there. Alex didn't grab a map because he was too confident in his manpower, and then Jenin looks for her phone, and it's not in the bag because Alex felt like she was gonna ignore him. So he took it out and hid it in the car. And she's like, Alex, why are you so stupid all the time in every way? And he's like, I was gonna propose to you. And she's like, eh. So he's not gonna kill her, and my hope is hinging on Declan coming back to pee on more of their belongings and shake things up a little bit. I usually really like Survivor movies, but Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey just has more intrigue and suspense than this movie. So they just kind of walk around and be sad because they're lost. And Jen is like, this sucks, at least we have each other. And I'm like, thank God she jinxed it, Alex is about to be murdered. And we keep getting these like creepy shots through the trees like they're being stalked, but then they're sleeping in their tent and there's this nice silhouette right above Jen, and it's a bear, and it just like keeps pressing its face against it, and it's really hilarious. I thought it was supposed to be like a comedic sequence, but it's supposed to be scary. And then she kind of like knocks her hand against its teeth because she thinks that it's Alex, and it just leaves. And when they wake up, they see that something ate all their food, and they're like, darn it, now we're lost and starving. Way to go, Alex. He's really leading this family straight into the ground. In the whole bear tent scene, all I could think about was the book Billionaire Bears, which is about these big dudes who shapeshift into bears. I don't know if they can control it or if it's like a werewolf situation, but they're bears and they're large men and they're billionaires, and they are looking for sturdy, voluptuous women who can handle their bear-sized hearts. I think that's a more compelling narrative, and I really wouldn't be upset if this movie just abruptly changed course 25 minutes to the end in order to adopt that plotline. Then there's more boring scenes I can't remember, and then they're back in the tent, and the bear walks in. As someone watching this movie thinking it was gonna be about a serial killer, I was really confused about this persistent bear subplot. But it slashes Jen in the arm and takes a big old bite out of Alex's leg, and Alex is like, I can't feel my foot, and Jen is like, 'cause you ain't got a foot no more, Alex. And then they just kind of hang out. What gets me about this scene is that Jen had pulled out bear spray, and she was ready with it, and she never sprayed it. Not when the bear entered, not when it clawed her, and not when it was chewing on her maybe fiance's leg. She just didn't worry about it and just held it. Then the bear comes back and drags Alex out of the tent and is eating him as he screams, and Jen is just watching, and I'm becoming more and more convinced that Jen is going to end up marrying the bear. So Alex is getting eaten, and he's like, Jen, run! And she does start running, but then she turns and comes back and looks at him for a while, and then takes the engagement ring that he'd been carrying in his bag, and then she leaves to the sound of him screaming. She still had the bear spray. He was still alive. I don't know, Jen. But Jen is running, and for several hours, or like over the course of a day, the bear is hunting her, which is not how bears work. It reminds me of all those movies that like demonize sharks, like 47 Meters Down and Jaws, and that one with Blake Lively on the rock, where they just depict animals in wholly inaccurate ways. But Jen runs and falls and breaks her ankle and splints her ankle, and then she uses the one flare she had as a flashlight and then just wanders, and then somehow arrives at the lake at the exact place that they left the canoe. Really incredible, Jen. So she gets in, and she's paddling back to shore, and she's exhausted. She's got so many broken bones. She's just bleeding profusely into the water, and I'm honestly very surprised that a great white shark did not smell her blood and like leap over the mountain range to eat her. She makes it to shore, and she's like crawling along the beach, and there's this group of people that don't hear her screaming or see her until one girl looks over and is like, oh my God, and she tells the guy standing next to her, who is Sheila. He sees Jen and then like slow-mo runs toward her. It's a good 2-minute sequence. And then the last shot is just her bleeding face. So what is the moral? What is the point? Did the characters change at all? I mean, I guess one character was alive and now he's dead. That's a pretty big change. The only character arc that I could have seen them trying to set up is if Jen had reached the shore and then stumbled to her car, bleeding out, gets in, picks up her phone, and then just gives herself like a, oh, you kind of smirk and tosses it on the back seat, because Alex was right. She's on her phone too much. No one learned anything. And none of the bears were seeking voluptuous women with whom to share their wealth.